Today we'll take a look at the Hone Flux core welder. So we got our instructions. We also got a handful of tips in there. So if you got different size wire, it's like we got a 08, a 09, another 08, and another 09. And this one actually comes with some flux core wire, and this is 0.8. Great thing about flux core wire is that you don't need gas, so you don't need to actually invest in a tank. You still have the benefit of being able to use that with a MIG gun, but you can use it outside in a windy day. You don't have to worry about that gas blowing away. So flux core is pretty awesome stuff. Here's the MIG gun, nice big gun, good feeling trigger. We got a hook on the back so we can hang it up. We got our nozzle. Looks like it comes with a tip already installed as well. This one is not labeled. I'm going to assume that that is a 0.8. On the back, it is a twist lock with a hole for the wire, and we have our control wire. This is pretty cool. So we can use this with a MIG gun, but we can also use this with a standard stinger. So if you just want to do some quick down and dirty work, we got that. And it has a very nice cut in there so we can get different angles on our rods. Comes with a strap, so we can strap everything up. And here is the welder. So the thing that is most impressive to me about this right now is how small it is for a MIG welder. That is very cool. And the bottom box, we've got a wire brush with a chipping hammer, and we got our working clamp. It's the same twist style lock. The thing I like about this one is it actually has a copper braid in the bottom, so we don't have to worry about if we're making better contact on this side. It doesn't have to rely on the pin to get the current to the wire. So whichever side is making better contact, that braid is going to allow that to work. So I'm glad that they did that. Nice big clamp on here too. So it is calling this the FC140. We have active cooling on the back. We got our on-off switch. Nice thick wire on here. And that is standard AC120, so we can plug this into a household outlet if we want. And they even have the duty cycles listed on here for the different processes. It actually says we can use this with a TIG torch if we got that. On the top it tells us exactly how to connect this, so depending on what type of process we're using. Really like that they actually put a highly detailed picture on there. On the front we got our positive, our negative, our wire feed, and our controller. We got a couple dials so we can see this one will control the wire speed as well as the amps, so depending on what type of process you're in, and then the voltage on the top. Nice smooth feeling dials on there as well. So pop this guy open. So this is nice. So they actually gave us the instructions on how to put wire in here just in case you're new to this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that this is set for the type of wire that we're going to be using. And we can see on our feeding wheel, we got a 0.030 as well as a 0.035. So that is the different gauges of wire that we can use. We're going to be using 0.030, which is 0.8 millimeter. And we can see that this groove is a little bit smaller. So we're going to take the 0.030 and we're going to have that facing away from the machine. With this welder, it's a bottom feed, so we want this wire to go counterclockwise. I like the design on this one too, so it's nice and quick. You just kind of press it in and then twist it. And this part can be tricky. I always recommend getting some needle nose pliers. You want to make sure that you're holding the wire and that you're not letting this coil unspring. So if I let go and I wasn't holding it, it would give me problems. And I want to make sure I get all the bends out. I want this to go nice and straight. I'm just going to cut off the bends that I got there. And we will feed that in. There we go. So it's coming out the front now. I'm going to drop this wheel and lock it in. Then I'm going to take my MIG torch and I want to line up that wire into that hole and just get it started. And then we can give it a twist to lock that in. This one is kind of on there. So now I can plug it in. I'll lift this up. I don't want to put my hands in there because we don't want to get shocked. But I'll leave that open just to make sure nothing's getting bound up as we're feeding. So I want to take this cord and I want to straighten it out as straight as I can get it. It's actually pretty long. And we will start feeding. Okay. And we are ready to go. Okay, so I got it set at about the 11 o'clock position on both. I'm just going to see how it runs like that.
That's good. Yeah, we got some bad copies that I think but you're alright with what you got. Thank you.
So the first thing I could definitely say is it runs nice and smooth. I'm not getting any kind of weird popping or anything. So all the grounds are working good. The inverter's good. So all this was here before. This is the weld that I just made, and that would definitely hold some metal together. It's not bad for a very first weld. That boy got hot. You can see what I got there. I only turned it up to about like maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I started punching a hole through the metal, so way too much penetration on that, which means that that welder can weld through some very thick stuff. This is about 1/8 inch thick square tubing, and yeah, it could melt that right through if it wanted to. So we're on a nice thin pass right here, and we'll see what we get. So there we go. That is a pretty beautiful thing and super consistent. Like, this just comes out like a flat stream. This thing runs really nicely. I play with a couple of home welders now, and they have all proven themselves to be very good welders, and this is no exception. As far as a flux core MIG welder goes, I would run this thing any day of the week. This is a beautiful welder.